I got your invitation. You want me to... You want me?
I have to go.
Lily, I have missed you. So...
What if she's serious?
How would you feel, if I just punched your dick right off?
I already bought a plane ticket.
Bullshit. You hate flying. I think you want a row buddy.
Get out there. You let me go through this.
When we get there. Until then, fair game. This is Hannah. She needs a ride to Phoenix, Arizona.
We need to speak privately.
She's not coming.
Welcome aboard!
Like a ton of bricks, everything. Ooh, it's heavy, 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 heavy.
Hello, filmmakers and film lovers. This is Kirsten with Rogue Cinema, and today I have a very talented filmmaker joining me out of North Florida, Tim Driscoll. Hi, Tim.
Hello, how you doing? I threw a big goofy wave to open up my internet interview. So, how you guys doing? Well, I can't respond to me. I don't know why I'm going to ask how they're doing. I hope you're doing well. How's that? That's good. Good start.
Yes, no. So you just finished your big feature, The Lengths.
Yeah, that was that's a long time coming, and I think overall actual production to post-production, I think it took about almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. Yeah, I think May 9th will be 2 years since we started shooting, and then of course pre-production and the writing was a whole nother. I don't count that because I don't like to think about how long I've been working on this thing. So 2 years for production and post-production.
Right. Well, and of course, I didn't tell you this before, but I've actually been following along on your Tumblr, your blog.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, the occasionally updated and the definitely overshared blog. That is way too many personal insights come out of that thing. But I guess I don't know how to behave any other way. So yeah.
No, well, I think that's great. Coming from a filmmaker perspective, a lot of what we're seeing today with independent filmmakers is they're being very honest about the trials and tribulations and how hard it is.
Sure.
And actually traveled to LA for some of your post-production, and you've been dealing with of course you just did your cast and crew screening a couple weeks ago now, and you've been very honest, and I think that's great coming from an independent filmmaker.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, actually, I love that you're doing this. Doing these interviews now. I mean, obviously, I like being interviewed because I, am a narcissist. But I think these kind of things are awesome. Like, I was talking to you a little bit earlier. I started doing a podcast with started with friends of mine who were making movies in various stages. Because I realized there's a lot that I didn't know. There's plenty that I did know, and I felt confident about, and a lot, particularly in the post-production and in festival strategies, like planning a festival strategy that I knew nothing about. So I figured I had friends who were in this process a little ahead of me. Started talking to them, and I realized that there's a lot I could learn from that. And I thought it's probably people in my same boat, and probably are at a different stage than I'm at. And I thought, if I'm just being honest, that could be helpful to somebody who's come up behind me trying to make a movie. And there's a lot of things that are going to go wrong when you're making a movie, whether it's a feature or a short. And I think the more you can mitigate that, the more success you'll have. The better chance you'll do it again. And if you really love doing this, so obviously doing it more than once is the goal. So I try to be as honest as possible and thinking about what I'm thinking about, and hopefully it's entertaining and not just tragic. But I really do. Thank you so much for reading it. I didn't know if anybody read it, so it's almost like a private journal to me because I'm unaware of anyone who reads that. So now I know I have one fan. So next time I write, I'll think I was like someone's gonna read this. So really, thank you so much for reading that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, and we'll definitely post the link here on the Rogue Cinema page so that our fans and followers can check that out too. So,
that'd be great.
And we'll talk a little bit about the lengths. So before you did the lengths, you're from Jacksonville, and you were very involved in the 48-hour film festival there, right?
I was, yeah. Funny thing about the 48 is we actually shot our 48. The first 48 I worked on was actually a week after we returned from filming the lengths. The lengths was from Jackson. We shot in Jacksonville. We shot in Pensacola. We shot while driving through Texas, and then finished in New Mexico, which is just not a recommended idea. It's a terrible idea. I can look back on it fondly, but in reality, it was awful. And anyone who experienced it would agree that in reality, it was terrible. But looking back, we're all still friends, and it's fun and funny, but only looking back. Anyway, so we returned to Jacksonville. I spent like a week in my apartment just hiding from people, and then we did Nora, my first 48-hour movie, and that ended up doing really well. It was really, I don't know if it's surprising. It was a little shocking how successful it was and how much people really responded to it, which was awesome for us. We felt really great about it. But in a weird way, like its success is preceded anything from the lengths, even though technically it occurred after the movie was done. So in a weird way, like I wish I would have done it early before the lengths, because I think its success really could have helped move some things forward in pre-production for the lengths.
Yeah.
But the success of Nora has certainly made people more aware of myself and the co-writer Joel. Joel Russo was the editor and writer of Nora, and then the co-writer on the lengths, and has done all of the artwork for the lengths. So any artwork you see from the movie, that's probably Joel. And he's phenomenal. I can't really praise him enough. So I'm going to send this section to him because he hates hearing me compliment him. But he's amazing and a good friend. Known him forever. But yeah, so the success of Nora has actually helped us out quite a bit with finishing things done for the lengths. People are more aware of us, or now actually Dan Solomon's actually a guy who is aware of me and wanted to see the lengths because of Nora, and a couple of people who will pay better attention. Well, not better. Will pay attention to me, and we're like, hey, yeah, I know who you are, and that's really it's a nice. Nora's a really nice calling card right now. So and really excited. Yeah, exactly. It was a foot in the door, and we didn't think about that at all. We made it. We were just like, we want to win the 48. That's what we went out trying to do, and we were fortunate enough to win the 48. We made a really good movie. I'm really probably very proud of that movie. I can objectively say Nora's good. I'm way too close to the lengths to be able to tell you what it is. I can say that the screening was received well. Mm-hmm. I like the movie, but I have no idea if it's good or a bad movie. It's a movie that I'm proud of, but I have no idea if it's good or bad.
Well, and of course, we'll have a review of the film here in Rogue Cinema as well. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the story, what the Lengths is about?
Yeah, the surface plot is nothing nothing that's going to blow your mind. It's pretty straightforward plot. But the main character Tom, he has found out that his ex-girlfriend Lily is going to get married, but he has reason to believe that she may or may not want him back in her life, which he would very much like to have her back in his life. Mm-hmm. So he's decided he's going to travel across the country, and he is going to crash that wedding in this huge romantic gesture, win her back. He mentions this to his megalomaniac best friend Charlie, who does not think this is a good idea, but manipulates his way into the trip and is passively aggressively trying to ruin the trip the entire time. Yeah, so there's a lot of comedic moments for sure in the movie. I think it starts off very funny and then gradually builds to more of a dramatic element. They on the path they meet a young lady who is on her own journey, and pretty quickly the three of them realize they can start using each other to get to reach their goal and reach their means. Through using each other, there's a lot of emotional attacks that occur. So it's set up to be an emotional, a love triangle, but it turns into more of an emotional horror story. It gets pretty brutal towards the end of the movie. So that's on the surface. That's the plot, I guess. And then underneath, I would say it's about so people. I've said this a lot, and I can never say it succinctly. It's about people who are insecure and won't accept good things in their life because they don't think they deserve it. Mm-hmm. So they tend to allow crap to happen to them simply because they don't believe they deserve better. So it's about learning how to love yourself better, so that you can demand better things for your life. So that I think is the root of what the movie's about, through the guise of this wedding crashing hopeful trip.
That sounds really deep, but it's definitely a relatable subject. I mean, a lot of our generation, you know, the 20s to 40s, they all kind of have that mentality. I can see it. You know, you can see it in pop culture everywhere now. So
Absolutely.
That's a great topic.
You know, when writing it, Joel and I think, you know, we were initially I think writing a gross out comedy as sort of we started off in the outset, and as we just started getting to know the characters better and figuring them out and fleshing them out, we realized there was a lot more going on, and you know, I think our objective then became, let's just be honest with who these people are, and let's have them behave as honestly as we understand that these people to be. And I think some really nice things came out of it, and our actors were terrific. I wish I could take more credit for him, but my brother's one of the people in it, so I mean he's awesome. I mean, people can expect me to praise my brother, but he's excellent. His role is he's the main character, Tom, and Tom. There's not a lot of big things going on with Tom. It's a lot of very subtle things that happen, and Corey does a phenomenal job of bringing those things, just presenting those things through his facial expressions and through his eyes. Like, it's very quiet, it's very soft, but you really see his very slow growth. It's like a nice slow push-in where, like, you don't realize you're starting from a wide and ended up a close-up, but you do. Like, that's Corey's performance. Like, you don't realize you're wide, and then at the end of the movie you're like, wow, I really know this guy. Josh Michael, who is just a terror on set. Like, I'm not terror in a bad way. He's so big. I mean, I can't really praise him enough either. He's fantastic. I can't believe he's not a star yet. The guy's awesome. And his character, Charlie, has a lot more they can do, but Josh really brings, again, nice subtleties to it and really contains the character, because it could have been very easy for somebody to blow it up and make it very big, because Charlie has all the jokes and he gets to do a lot, and Josh brought a real depth to that character that I hadn't even imagined when writing it, and Josh was phenomenal. And then Corsica, she has some of the most expressive eyes that I've seen on any human being, I think. And she knows how to use them. Yeah. And she knows how to use them. Like she's amazing. Like, I remember editing some scenes, and I was just, like, lingering on shots just because I was like, I can't look away. And I was like, well, if I can't look away, maybe the audience shouldn't either. And, yeah, so she does a great job. Again, she kind of comes in later in the movie. She doesn't have a lot of dialogue compared to the other two guys, but she really captures with her physicality. And again, honesty, just real emotional and physical honesty. So,
and of course, she's gone on to. She just was featured in A World with that female writer director. I can't remember her name.
Lake Bell's movie. Yeah, which I mean, we're so excited for. I unfortunately have been a bad friend and collaborator and have not yet seen In a World, but I've had friends who've seen it and say that Corsica is very memorable in the movie. If you see it, she's plays like a Valley Girl type character. That's all I know about the movie. Yeah. She's got a great little scene in the trailer. I thought that was it. I thought that was all she had. And a friend said she saw it, and he's like, no, she's actually in quite a bit of the movie, and she's really quite good. And I was like, that's awesome. I know she was also in a zombie movie recently that was supposed to be pretty good.
Dead Season.
Yes, that one. I haven't seen it. I have no idea anything about it. I know she's in it. I know she's a major character. I feel confident she's pretty good at it, if not very good at it.
She's excellent. We actually, of course, I worked with her on Veer. So I actually went down to Tampa with Patrick Berry, the director of Veer, and we attended a special screening of Dead Season before it came out.
Oh, that's awesome. Right on. Yeah, I read a couple reviews that really gave Corsica a great deal of praise. So I'm very excited that she did well in the movie. I'm glad the movie's doing pretty well. I know it's on demand right now, so go watch it, Corsica. I'm gonna promote other people's movies during my interview time, because I don't care. You can't see my movie yet, so you gotta wait. Well, so
what about Nora? Can you see Nora anywhere?
You definitely can. Nora's actually is on YouTube. If you YouTube Nora 48 Hour, I think you'll definitely pull up the movie. I know mine does, but my browser's kind of trained now. If you type in Nora, you're gonna get Nora Jones or Nora Ephron. Which is nothing wrong with either one of them, by all means. But if you type in Nora 48 Hour, I think you're almost guaranteed to pull up our movie. And so if you'd like to see it, it's there for your viewing pleasure.
And we'll plug the link in at the bottom of the page too to direct some of our fans and followers there so they can check it out.
That's great. Great. Thank you.
So, as a filmmaker, and this being your first feature, what
Yes.
was the one big thing that you learned while shooting The Lynx?
One big thing I learned, I think, was probably managing things. Managing things. I'm gonna listen to 3 things. So I'm cheating by saying one thing with 3 subcategories: managing expectations, managing your money, and then managing people. We work on a movie, and that one I think is probably one of the biggest lessons because it's because it's emotional. Like there can be a lot of heartache involved with working with people. Obviously a lot of joy as well. I mean, I have some people that I'll absolutely 100% work with again. I can't wait to work with again. There's other people where things didn't work well, and you have to deal with that, and that can be very painful and very difficult. I like people liking me, and when you're directing, you can't always have that. You can't always have people liking you. You got to make tough decisions, and you have to crack down because at the same time you're trying to get your baby created. You're trying to get your thing done. So I think it's learning how to manage people, even just with like our actors. Like obviously my brother and I, we have a long history, so we're gonna find things that we're gonna fight about. But even Corsica and Josh, I had not worked with either one of them prior to this. I had known Josh through actually FSU. We both went to FSU together, and I knew him through circles, but I never met Corsica till her audition. I had seen her in Veer. Liked her. Her audition was great. And they're actors, and that I don't mean in a bad way. I mean that they have their own idea of how the characters can be presented. That's a little bit different than mine, and I don't want to dictate how they're going to go. And occasionally we had some, sort of rubbing against each other, some friction as far as what it is we were trying to accomplish, and trying to find a balance because they're also collaborators. They have great ideas. They have imaginations. They also want the movie to be good. They want to be good themselves. So it's something I'm trying to take away from what I'm trying to do. So we have to try to find that middle ground of like, yeah, here's the path we're going on. So I think the first 6 or so days of filming were a lot of learning experiences, figuring out, okay, here's the movie we wrote, here's the movie we're shooting, and they're not necessarily the same thing, and sort of adapting like, okay, let's change the way we're going to shoot this a little bit just to make sure we're shooting the same thing. Because I think writing-wise, we thought it'd be much more of a comedy, and as we started filming and as the actors came in and brought their own ideas, it started feeling a little more dramatic. I cut it thinking I was cutting it to what we shot, and the screening ended up having a lot of really quality laughs. People laughing all the right moments too, which is great. No real wrong moments of laughter, that's a great feeling. So now it's back to being sort of a dramedy. Of course, too, when you write it and then you shoot it and then you edit, no joke is funny anymore to me. But it was great hearing people who did find jokes that were funny. I'm like, this was funny when we wrote it. I hope it's still funny now. And to find out that it's still funny is pretty awesome. But I think managing people, and then of course time and expectations, money, all of that. I learned that was a huge learning experience, and I don't know if you can talk long enough about those things.
No, those are very important in independent filmmaking. Now, did you produce the film yourself, or did you bring in a producer?
I produced. I'd say I probably produced most of it on my. Well, I had a lot of help. I had a lot of people coming in as producers. During pre-production, there was myself and 2 other people who helped out with the producing, the early stuff. But as far as like assembling a crew, that was mostly me, and that was mostly me just contacting old film school friends who still liked me enough to work for free. And then one of our producers, Kat, she actually found Josh and she found Corsica. She did a lot of legwork early on too, a lot of sort of like foundational things that's sort of hard to see, like where it is, like what she did now, but what the work she did allowed things to be stacked on top of it, so we could build these towers. So she did a lot of foundational producing. On set, my friend Cody Gallo, who was the first assistant director, he did a lot of producing on set, and he's actually a former military. He was a captain in the Army. He's now actually in the DGA program out in Los Angeles, and he's going to be a phenomenal AD. The guy knows how to command a set without demeaning anybody. He knows how to run things, keep things moving quickly. So he's a great AD, and then he's a very intuitive filmmaker too. So he really knows sort of how to look for things and how to adjust. And yeah, he was a phenomenal. Outside of just being a good friend of mine, phenomenal AD and producer on set. And then we came to post-production. I handled most of the post-production producing until we got to sound. and then we brought in a guy named Dave Shatnoff Jr., who actually he's an EP now, and he handled all of our sound editing and got us our sound mixer and is helping with festivals and rights and a lot of the paperwork stuff that I just really don't understand.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So much paperwork. So much paperwork. That God, it's awful. It's awful, and a lot of it, like, we just didn't know any better early on, but like we didn't get a lot of it during pre-production or the beginning of production.
Oh no.
Yeah, so figuring out what we can get away with and we can't get away with has been an adventure. I think we're mostly in a good spot where if someone wanted to legally come after us, I mean, I guess they could, but few people have any real legs to stand on. So that's good. We're not totally screwed if someone chooses to buy this movie.
Yeah.
But if someone wants to buy it, we have a lot of things we need to get done and give to them. So that's sort of what I'm doing now. While I'm submitting to festivals, it's like, hey, what are the loose ends I need to wrap up? And no other producer wants to help me with that. That's been left to me. Yeah.
So you're talking about going on the festival circuit. You're planning on doing that this year?
Yeah, we had actually I submitted a number of work in progress screeners to festivals, and as a friend told me, well, one, it's a terrible idea, I think. A number of people say don't ever submit your movie as a work in progress to festivals, and they told that to me after I'd submitted like 15 of them, and I was like, that's a lot of money that I just threw away. And they're like, unless your name is Tarantino, don't submit your movie as a work in progress. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. No one has any reason to believe Tim Driscoll's movie is going to be good. They have no reason to believe it.
Or finished.
Or finished, yeah. Or will get finished, yeah. They have no reason to believe that. And then I also didn't always read whether or not festivals took work in progress screeners and submitted anyway. So, yeah, that was an expensive lesson. So I learned that. So that's not the biggest thing I've learned, unfortunately. But I learned that. So now the movie's actually done. Aaron Moorhead, I think you emailed him and
him and Jeff. Yes, the directors of Resolution.
Resolution, yeah. I know Aaron through weird connections. We did both go to Florida State, but not at the same time. So I know him through other people. His sister was my wife's a close friend of my wife's back when she was in college, and I wrote his letter of recommendation to the film school for him. Even though I didn't know him, I was like, "Yeah, this guy sounds cool. Why not? You should accept him." And they did. So I don't know if it had anything to do with me, but I did write a letter of recommendation. And Aaron and I have been friends, friendly, I should say, at least since then. Mostly friends on social networks. But anyway, he said that don't blow your premiere. You really want to find a nice place you're good with premiering at. So there are like 4 or 5 festivals left that I really kind of would like to be in. I should say premiere at, and so we're gonna try those 4 first this year. Rest of this year, if we don't get into those, we'll probably wait until September, October, and restart for the 15 circuit.
Of course.
If we now starting the 15th circuit, if we don't get into those last 4, starting September is sort of the early deadlines for like Sundance and Slam Dance. Probably not gonna go that route. I do feel like that's probably a bit too political for where I'm at in my stage. I think I might look at places a little bit smaller, a little bit that are more open to unnamed filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get a real high, top tier festival to premiere at, I think my main focus is actually Southeast film festivals and any festival with a budget niche. So anything with I know the Vegas Independent Film Festival has like a Kickstarter niche that you can submit to. There's, of course, like the Zero Film Festivals. Berlin Independent Film Festival has a made for under $30,000 segment. So we'll probably focus a lot of our attention and energy on niche festivals in the South and Southeast festivals.
Right.
And then hoping we can land a larger premiere. For this year, I think we're hoping for Chicago, Austin, New York City. And those are all obviously pretty big festivals, and not far from Sundance in a lot of ways. I just don't know the politics of them as much as I know the politics of Sundance. So we're gonna hope for those, and we do have some connections, like 2-degree separation connections to a couple of them. We hope to get lobbied for, and someone will be like, yeah, you're cool. Let's do this. And we hope that'll open doors up for other festivals. If not, then we'll just really try to pound festivals that make sense for this movie. You know, again, South Film festivals, budget niche festivals, and hopefully we can get into a lot of them. If they have competitions, we can win some and make a name for ourselves that way. So we don't have to scrounge as hard for money for the next one.
No, that's awesome. Well, that sounds great. I wish you the best of luck with the festival circuit.
Yeah,
so we'll
if there's anything, please feel free to comment or email me. I'd be happy to talk to you.
Yeah, and that's one thing about these interviews. These filmmakers that I've been interviewing, including Aaron and Justin, have all been super friendly. Of course, Aaron and Justin are all over Twitter. They just got back from Italy shooting Spring.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, they're all over Twitter, and they love talking to filmmakers. And that's the great thing about the independent film community is everybody is really part of the community.
Absolutely, no, yeah, it's been a great community. The more I get into it, the more I really appreciate being in it. And it's almost like I don't want to make a Hollywood movie.
Yeah. But if you were offered one, you know.
Yeah, if I was offered one, I'd be like, I wouldn't turn it down. But you know, the independent community is fantastic, and just meeting the people who just there's a lot of love for it. Not that Hollywood filmmaking there isn't love there, but there is something different when you're really having to scrounge to get something made and put together in front of people. Like it's a different thing. I think you really bond with the people who are making that same struggle. That's why I think the interviews like this that you guys are doing, the podcast that I hope to release, are useful tools for No Film School. I think it's a fantastic website to help people who are trying to come together and make something and encourage each other, not push each other down, which I think is good. We should not push each other down, but continue to build each other up and make more movies.
Oh, definitely. Now, okay, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. What is the one piece of advice that you wish to pass on to future filmmakers?
Yes, I think this has been said a lot, and it can't be understated or said enough times. Your sound is so important. You will spend so much money in sound if you don't do it right on set, and even if you do it right on set, you're still going to spend a good amount of money in sound. I think, as you might know, I wrote a blog about my movie right after I heard the sound, the final mix for the first time, and your movie becomes a movie in sound. Pretty images are fantastic. Good acting is obviously a great thing to have, but sound is where your movie is actually made, in my opinion. So if you had $10,000 and you're not sure what to do, put most of that towards sound and figure out how to do the rest of it on less money, because you can shoot with less money. You really sound on a budget sounds like sound on a budget.
Yeah.
So people will forgive bad images. They won't forgive bad sound. So have quality sound. That's one big piece of advice, and I can't emphasize it enough. Have good sound.
No, that's great, and a lot of filmmakers just say, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, but no, what you just said, it's so true, and a lot of filmmakers just kind of blow it off.
We do, and I get it. I totally understand why we did it on the lengths. Fortunately, Nora's a silent film, so we didn't have to worry about it. But it's because we're film's a visual medium. We think about it visually, and so we don't take into account how much sound plays into it, because we take it for granted, because we're looking and we're trying to observe, and that's important. That's really where filmmaking as an art form really kind of starts, but it ends with quality sound. And your images will actually look better if it sounds really nice. I even found that on my movie. I have a really very nice looking movie. My cinematographer Austin did a great job. Even before color correction, the movie looked beautiful. The images look better when they sound really nice. So, yes.
No, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Tim.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. And, of course, we'll have the Facebook page, the Tumblr, of course, the private journal blog.
Yes. Good, yeah, thank you for that. I'm glad I might get a few other people reading.
Oh, definitely. Well, thank you for joining us, filmmakers and film lovers, and we'll catch you next time on Rogue Cinema.